Cameroon joins the globe to observe World Malaria Day. This 14th edition comes at a time government is intensifying the fight against the disease that claimed over 4,000 lives in 2020. Find out available treatments to this disease in this edition. Day 9 of the Elite One Football Championship unveils exciting results as Tonel Kalara Club of Yaoundé beats Apechès on foot 2-1, ending round 1 with 10 points. Get highlights of the derby in the 7:30 news.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of the 7:30 News. I am Gladys Tata. We begin with this health news where today is World Malaria Day. The commemoration of the 14th edition is placed under the slogan Zero Malaria, Draw the Line Against Malaria. Going by statistics unveiled by the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malachi, over 4,000 deaths were recorded last year in Cameroon due to this malaria. In a declaration, he stated that several campaigns of free distribution of mosquito bed nets are being carried out by health personnel to keep malaria at bay. Romeo Kenye tells us more.
In line with the commemoration of the 14th World Malaria Day, treated mosquito nets have been donated to pregnant women in 3 separate medical facilities in Balmayo, Nyonganso Division, Center Region. The move was spearheaded by the Inspector General in charge of Administrative Services in the Ministry of Public Health, Maina Julda. Zero Malaria, Draw the Line Against Malaria is this year's theme. In a declaration, Minister Manauda Malachi said government has adopted a new malaria control strategic plan for the period 2019-2023 to reduce at least 60% mortality.
For the southwest regions before the end of 2021 and for the center at the beginning of 2022.
The north and far north are the country's most hard-hit malaria zones. Government has been banking on chemo prevention campaigns in the areas to keep malaria at bay.
Today our attention is mainly focused on the population of the center and southwest regions who are still waiting for their mosquito nets following the campaign launched in 2019.
We have campaigns where we treat children and we are able to cover them during the high transmission season, which is 4 months.
Per statistics, at least 4,121 people, mainly children below 5 years, die of malaria yearly in Cameroon.
Malaria continues ravaging lives across Cameroon and on the African continent as a whole. The best weapon against this deadly disease remains prevention and effective treatment. Alice Mbey in the following report takes a look at the various malaria treatment methods available for patients in Cameroon. Alice?
To go by health experts, malaria poses a major challenge with its consequential increase in hospitalization and number of deaths. The symptoms include fever, sweating, and fatigue.
The prevalence of malaria have gone from around 30% in the general population in the years 2010 to around 24% in the year 2018.
Treatment and cause depends on the type of plasmodium.
Treatment of malaria in Cameroon is done mainly through artemisinin combined therapy. And for simple malaria, we have artemether-lumefantrine that is available in various doses that correspond to the various ages of our population. We have artesunate amodiaquine that is also found in our hospitals. And we have D-artemisinin piperacin. And for severe malaria, we will have artesunate, injectable artesunate. We will have injectable artemether, and we will have quinine that are used for severe malaria. For pregnant women, they can be treated with quinine tablets. Malaria has to be treated freely for infants less than 5 years.
Preventive methods include the use of mosquito nets.
When they are ill, to consult early enough in the hospital to avoid them evolving in the severe form that can be deadly. We advise pregnant women to do the antenatal consultations, during which they will be given mosquito nets and they will be given also intermittent preventive treatment.
Added to this, the use of insecticides and wearing of long-sleeve dresses are basic practical ways of keeping off mosquito bites, vector of malaria.
54% of households in the country use mosquito nets, although more than 90% has benefited from routine distribution of mosquito nets. Health authorities have launched a call on World Malaria Day for the population to get under their bed nets, which is a proven way to prevent mosquito bites and consequently malaria, which kills over 4,000 people in Cameroon yearly. Beatrice Losamba reports that with mosquito infestation on the rise, bed nets will play a major role in the government's vision to eradicate malaria.
With the changing climate, places which did not infest mosquitoes before are doing so today. Research reveals breeding grounds for mosquitoes have increased, also as a result of man's activities on the environment. The answer to eradicating malaria, which mosquitoes are vectors of, is said to lie in the hands of man. And governments have put up sustained fights against the disease, which causes the death of over 4,000 people yearly in Cameroon, especially children below 5. With up-to-date treatment and other key interventions in preventing malaria, including routine distribution of bed nets, which has benefited 91% of the population. And the government is ever more determined to use all weapons needed in defeating malaria. But it would seem the population has not done its own part in the battle. Only half of households which received bed nets sleep under them. Some of the bed nets they received ended up as traps for termites and fishing nets. Literally speaking, the population needs to be an ally in the daily struggle to draw the line against malaria.
Away from malaria, let's take you over to the northwest region, more precisely in Bengui, to talk on the Bengui Council that has enlisted the help of the inhabitants of 2 villages in the municipality to construct a bridge that was burnt by unidentified men. The joint effort of the people of Zem and Zinibe villages in partnership with the council have made the bridge passable and economic activities resumed. Mercy Kusi of CRTV Northwest tells us more.
Zem and Jinibe are border villages that link Bengui to Njikwa, Andek, and the Tat Market, one of the largest in the Momo division. It had become impossible for those villagers to carry on with their economic activities following the destruction of those bridges. In the past days, municipal councillors of Bengui and the villagers have been engaged in community works to rebuild the bridges.
We had difficulties in movement, transportation.
There is the necessity for these 2 bridges so that our people who come from other areas can come and attend the main market of the area. Now I want to tell you that the commoner, if the bridges are not there, the commoner is a person to suffer.
Having suffered several forms of destruction, the people continue to hope that peace is completely restored in the area.
3 schools in Boko Haram-affected Mora in the far north region of the country have been offered new desks to prevent the pupils and students from taking lessons on bare floor, as it was the case before. The donation is from Sector 1 of the Multinational Joint Task Force as part of civil-military cooperation to reinforce ties with the population. Henry Tato Ekambi reports from CRTV Far North.
A good number of the pupils of Government Inclusive Primary School Amchali and Government Primary School Dulu, all in Mora, Mayosaba Division of the Far North, were either sitting on the bare floor or on a log of wood to take lessons. It is a similar situation for the students of the Rural, Artisan and Home Economics Center in Mora. Today, their story has changed with Sector 1 of the Multinational Joint Task Force donating desks to their schools, much to the satisfaction of the beneficiaries.
The children who used to sit on the bare floor to learn will now sit comfortably.
For the donors, this gesture is a civil-military cooperation that goes a long way to reinforce the collaboration between the army and the population.
We came here to solidify this relation between army and this population. We are trying to help them to improve school.
The beneficiaries were also told that similar gestures will follow suit if they make judicious use of the donation, perform well in their academics, and encourage others to enroll in the schools.
Over in the littoral region, maritime experts have rounded up training on how to use a software known as Yaoundé Architecture Regional Information System, dubbed YARIS, that enables one identify incidents at sea from a distance. This part of Gulf of Guinea Interregional Network project, dubbed GOJING, is organized by the European Union. More with Laris Nane Epote from CRTV Littoral in Douala.
The Gulf of Guinea is known as a hotspot for maritime piracy, a phenomenon which the Marine Corps is doing everything possible to combat such ill. Through the project, the Gulf of Guinea Interregional Network, abbreviated GOGIN, a software known as YARIS is thus created to monitor the sea and have precise information on suspected incidents on time.
Maritime security, it is a whole subject, very, very complex, which needs a good capacity building in terms of human resource. We have to detect threats very, very far away from our coast, and to detect them we need technology tools.
The Douala event was to train staff working in marine centers how to use the YARIS software in an operational context.
YARIS will help the decision makers to take appropriate decision whenever there is an incident at sea. YARIS also help share and exchange information among centers in our region.
Participants were put in a position to work on fictitious scenarios to combat ills such as maritime pollution, illegal fishery, tracking and responding to acts of piracy, among others.
Social cohesion is a driving force to the Cameroon Women of Faith Network for Peace, created in November 2019, has met in Yaoundé for its first General Assembly. During their gathering, the importance of preaching peace was highlighted. In attendance was the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, Professor Marie-Theresa Benaundwa. Yoti Kaleli Songe has more.
Peace harbingers uniting with other peace crusaders to map out the way forward for a serene Cameroon. The Cameroon Women of Faith Network is meeting in Yaoundé for their very first General Assembly since its inception in 2019, and this gathering is strategic.
When there is war, it's women and children that suffer a lot. And to see that women of different religious faiths are presently here to come and discuss about peace, social cohesion, and you know that peace is threatened in our country. We are the far north, the east, the Adamawa, northwest and southwest, and we have the social media.
Government is hoping that this faith network won't relent in their endeavors.
Women should continue to be involved in the search of solution for peace. If they are excluded, they should do everything to be implicated, and we are very happy that this association is working in.
We have seen the distribution of over 300,000 COVID seedlings to farmers within the region, meaning that within the next 2 or 3 years or 4 years maximum, production, everything remaining equal, is going to increase and increase greatly.
The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development has challenged the youth to get involved in agriculture while promising government support to over 35,000 coffee farmers in the region.
By supplying fertilizer and pesticide, and by supplying a revolving fund to buy beans from the farmers.
The Northwest is reputed for the production of both Arabica and Robusta coffee that competes with Kenya, Ethiopia, and Brazil.
Over in Garoua, 10 tons of improved seedlings have been offered by the Agricultural Institute for Research and Development, IRAD, to 1,730 farmers in Bibemi subdivision. IRAD's General Manager Noe Wine on the occasion voiced his hope of seeing agricultural production in this basin of the North region revitalized. As Luisa Akwanka reports that the beneficiary farmers are expected to commit themselves for the socio-economic development of the region.
Climate change, plant diseases, and the use of seedlings with limited yields are some of the factors which have stunted the productivity of the agricultural sector of Bibemi subdivision in Benue Division, whose farmers are bearing the brunt of, exacerbated by the raging COVID-19 pandemic. 1,730 of these, among them over 1,000 female farmers from Jalumi, Padame and other villages of the locality, have received 10 tons of improved seedlings from the Agricultural Institute for Research and Development IRAD for cultivation on a land expanse of 5,000 hectares to remedy the situation.
The basic seeds of maize, soybeans, sorghum and cashew nuts are to help the farmers of Bibemi to realize a sustainable food production.
Cashew nut production would be stepped up in the area, given the economic potential it represents for the region and the nation as a whole. The 5 beneficiary common initiative groups were advised to make wise use of the seedlings, follow up and training effort to reinvigorate the locality's agricultural sector and thus upgrade their livelihoods.
And in politics, the men, women and youth wings of the CPDM subsection Bandomo of the Mefo and Akono North constituencies held a joint plenary yesterday to establish a real mapping of the basic organs in order to achieve effective supervision at the local level. Present was the CPDM section president, Benjamin Zibi. Cynthia Saptala was in Bankomo. She put together this report.
The statutory meeting organized by CPDM subsection Badumu served as a platform to remind militants and sympathizers of the party's missions. During a detailed expose, Honorable Esomba Bengono explained that engaged militant is an active member working to expand the electorate.
I've tried to explain the basic status of our party in order to enforce the commitment behind the party and the national president.
The meeting comes after a recent circular written by CPDM Secretary General Jean Kwete, who requested the validation of basic political structures in each section.
We wanted also to encourage him because it's not easy for a newborn baby to stand up.
The exercise is being carried out in build-up to future elections.
And we come back to this sad note to talk on late Professor Gervais Mendoza, former general manager of CRTV, who died recently and was laid to rest yesterday in his native village, Otuakam, in the South region. Hundreds of mourners, including dignitaries, traditional rulers, and a delegation from CRTV led by its general manager, Shan Dongo, were present to bid farewell to the one they described as mentor, philanthropist, and artist. Details with Joyce Kimbi Forwajo.
Beauty in sadness, compassion expressed through flowers. Hundreds bid farewell to late Professor Gervais Mendoza, novelist, playwright, music director, and a high grace in fine arts.
He was an artist, a pedagogist, a university researcher, and a professor of fine art.
Regrets for the loss of a father, mentor, counselor, and confidant.
Charles and I had the privilege of traveling with you in your vehicle during our coverages on the head of state within the country. These trips were punctuated by prayer sessions. As your son, I was privileged to benefit from an exceptional mentorship from you.
His 17 years as CRTV General Manager contributed immensely in molding the present General Manager, Shan Dongo, to the seasoned professional he is. He weeps for the loss of a shepherd.
A shepherd is dead. As orphans, we are left with the image of stars in the sky. The sheep mourns its shepherd.
Professors Afanaze and Professor Tonye openly confessed that late Professor Gervais Mendoza was their destiny helper. Family, traditional rulers, and all Otuakam village and beyond mourn the departure of the professor they refer to as their burden carrier.
Christians of the St. John's Anglican Church in Yaoundé have celebrated their 5th synod session with a call to be thankful to God even in times of trouble. This was during a church service chaired by the diocesan bishop, the Reverend Debo Babington Elango. Victor Siga has more.
This is the atmosphere that reigned today at the St. John's Anglican Church in Yaoundé. Members of the Synod Planning Committee, as well as faithful from far and near, came to celebrate the 5th Synod session of the parish.
The Synod is when we take all the parishes, some delegates come to a particular parish and we discuss and evaluate the church of the past year and then make new laws.
After a balance sheet of past year's activities, it was an opportunity to thank God for his endless blessings and to put in place new rules and regulations.
We have a lot of projects. It should be realistic, it should be feasible, and it should also have a lot of results.
It is only when we come together, reason together, talk together, that we understand to be able to go down to the parish and disseminate this information to the parishioners.
The 5th Synod session was celebrated under the theme Year of Extraordinary Exploit, drawn from the Gospel of Isaiah 29 verse 14.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
With the ongoing vaccination campaign against COVID-19 in the country, precisely in the West region, health experts say the exercise is opened to everyone. Who exactly is to be vaccinated? Baldwin Sama asked this question to his guest, Professor George Eno Orok. Hello, Baldwin. You're welcome.
Good evening. We are still at the Bafoussam Regional Hospital where we're close to 500 personnel here at this hospital. The worry is the ongoing vaccination campaign reserved only for health personnel. Who are those who can equally have themselves vaccinated here at the Bafoussam Regional Hospital? Let us find out from our guest, Professor George Eno Orok. He is the director of this hospital. Good evening to you, Prof.
Good evening, Baldwin, and thanks to CRTV for this opportunity.
With the ongoing vaccination campaign against COVID-19, who are those who can have themselves vaccinated here at the Bafoussam Regional Hospital?
Well, the first doses of both AstraZeneca and Sinopharm vaccines, following instructions from our hierarchy, we prioritize the health personnel. And we have about 470 personnel in this hospital, so we give priority to them. Almost 75 have been vaccinated against this virus, but we also open up to the community and stress to them to avail themselves, one, voluntarily, and let them know that it is a painless, free, voluntary, and documented exercise. That's what we're trying to do. And it's important because in order to obtain herd immunity, that is for the entire community to be immunized, we need to touch about 60% of the community. And as of now, I think even with the present doses of vaccines, we will still be around 3-4% of our community.
Thank you so much, Professor George Eno Orok, for all those explanations. Inhabitants of Bafoussam and equally other divisions here in the West region of Cameroon, this is just one of the vaccination centers we have here in the region. They are encouraged to have themselves vaccinated as one of these measures to limit the spread of the coronavirus in Cameroon, and in particular here in the West region of the country. Back to you.
Well, thanks, Baldwin Sama. Those explanations have not fallen on deaf ear, as anybody can go in for the vaccination. And we conclude with sports to talk on Tonnerre Calara Club of Yaoundé that have defeated Apéges on foot 2-1 in one of the day 8 and 9 fixtures of Cameroon's Professional Football League. Tekase has hence ended round 1 of the championship with 10 points. The encounter took place at the Yaoundé Annex 1 Stadium. Here is Romeo Kenyi with the highlights of the game and other results.
Day 9 pressure was even between Apejos Onfu and Tonnerre Clara Club of Yaoundé. The 7th regional meeting for both caught in an early one showdown. Tekase in black failed to capitalize on incursions with no one masterminding chances up front in the first quarter. Apejos came correcting wrongs in just 17 minutes with forward Calixtus Ako exploiting distant connections to plunge Tekase in a 1-0 deficit. The score margin stayed unaltered till recess time. It was a different ball game in the second half with Apejos relaxing muscles, while Tonnerre Clara Club grabbed equalizer via penalty following a body check. Tonnerre increased tally to 2 at 80 minutes with Ngap Medu beating keeper Dande Junior in a 1-to-1 counter-attack. 2-1 at full time in favor of Tonnerre Clara Club of Yaoundé. Apejos Onfu have thus crashed out to consolidate a 4th consecutive win on home soil. In other fixtures, Bambuto's FC Amboda spanked Dragon of Yaoundé 4-1. Avion Academy of Cam bowed to Fofu of Baham by no goal to 2. PWD of Bamenda of Apart Edin Sport of the Leke 1-0, while Astor of Douala humbled Panther Sportif of Ndé 2-0. UMS takes on Yusa in a day 9 delay confrontation this Monday, while Cotton Sports game against Colomb has been postponed.
Romeo Kenyi's report draws the curtains on this edition of the 7:30 News. Thanks for watching. You'll be in under 30 minutes in the company of Nicole Dudu with the news at 8:30. Until then, it's bye from all of us on the 7:30 crew. Good night and stay blessed.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.